Alright guys, I am back with my review of this week's TNA Impact Wrestling for November 14th, 2013. And this one starts off with the Aces and Eights coming out. Bully Ray gets in the ring and says that next week he's going to defeat Ken Anderson on the Turning Point show. And this causes Anderson to come out. Actually, before that, when the Aces and Eights were walking to the ring, Brooke Tessmacher did her usual thing where she shakes her ass, which I'm fine with. I have no problem with that. However, this week, there was like a row of kids watching this whole thing. And it was just really awkward. I mean, they saw her shake her ass. They saw Bully Ray standing behind her like... They saw the whole thing. And I don't know how old these kids were, but I don't even think they were teenagers, honestly. And if you saw the show, you probably know what I'm talking about. So that was weird. But yeah, Bully Ray says he's going to defeat Anderson. Anderson comes out, and Anderson says, how about a stipulation? I defeat you next week. The Aces and Eights are done. Which is kind of a weird stipulation. I mean, if the Aces and Eights are done or whatever, that's fine. I'm sure Anderson's going to win the match so that the Aces and Eights are finally out of TNA. But technically, thinking about this logically, you know, what you should never do, by the way, if that's true and the Aces and Eights have to break up, they can't call themselves the Aces and Eights, couldn't they still work as a team and just call themselves something else? They could call themselves the Eights and Aces. I mean, technically that's within the stipulation, right? So this doesn't really make a lot of sense, but whatever. So Bully Ray says, I'm not going to agree to that. And Anderson says, well, how about this? You beat me, I'll leave TNA forever. My wife is pregnant with twins. I'll go home and be a father. Which sounds like something he should be doing. And Bully Ray says, I wish I could pile drive your pregnant wife. Oh my god, I popped for that. This was awesome. This is why I love Bully Ray. This took me back to ECW, and it was like something the Dudley Boys used to say. Just a classic line. Back when Bully Ray would say the craziest shit. So I really like that. But Anderson gets on the apron, and Bully Ray says, you must be crazy to put your career on the line against someone like me. And Anderson says, I am crazy. He attacks Bully Ray. The Aces and Eights beat him up, but he fights him off. And he grabs a microphone and says that he still wants to fight. He wants to fight one of them. And they choose Nuxie. So it's Anderson versus Nuxie. The match was... It was okay, I guess. It was just a match, honestly. But Anderson hits the mic check for the win, and that was it. So TNA is doing this Impact 365 thing. And I'm not sure what this is. I guess it's some social media thing they're using. But it's basically how they're showing promos now. So we get one from Joseph Park. He's talking about how he wants to face Christopher Daniels one-on-one. And then we get one with Daniels and Kazarian talking about how Daniels accepts the challenge, is going to go kick Joseph Park's ass. But as he's leaving, Bobby Roode comes up. So Daniels and Kazarian are like, hey, did you see we got a new shirt? Now, I don't know what the shirt is, if they're talking about a Bad Influence shirt. But if they're talking about an Ego shirt, that's really sad, because it's already obvious that TNA is not going to do any more with Ego, Roode, Daniels, and Kazarian. The only thing they've done in like a month is when Roode was fighting Kurt Angle, Bad Influence came out to hold Roode back. Roode doesn't help them win matches anymore. They don't help Roode. I mean, they're not a group. So if they just now came out with an Ego shirt, it's just like the Main Event Mafia thing. I mean, they come out with a shirt and then they get rid of the stable. So I mean, who wants to buy a shirt like that? So I think like they're going to start doing more with Roode and Bad Influence just because of this fucking t-shirt. But yeah, I would not recommend buying an Ego t-shirt. Just my opinion. Then we get Joseph Park versus Christopher Daniels. This was boring. And Taz and Tanea going back and forth on commentary was like the only entertaining part of this match. Which says a lot right there. But Christopher Daniels hits a low blow and covers Joseph Park for the win. So we see the Aces and Eights And they're leaving to go to a strip club. Bully Ray tells Nux and Garrett to not say anything to Brooke about this. If you had a girl like Brooke Tessmacher, would you really be going to the strip club? I mean, seriously. This doesn't make any sense because I don't think anybody would. Well, maybe some people would. Then we get EC3 versus... Jesus Christ, their names. Nor Furnham. I think I got it right this week. And Bob Backlund wannabe Dewey Barnes. And of course, EC3 beats him. He hits the headlock driver on both of them for the win. It sucked. I thought. I didn't care about this. I know they're like a comedy team, but TNA, my God, they got enough of those. You got the Bromans, you got Eric Young and Joseph Park, and now you got these guys. And then we get another message paid for by the Friends of AJ Styles. Shows him wrestling in Mexico. I thought it was cool. Dixie Carter's pissed off about this. So they just showed a promo from Jeff Hardy after his match against Sabin last week, the Full Metal Mayhem match. And I don't know what exactly the brackets are for this tournament, but I'm pretty sure Jeff Hardy said 4 more to go. And if it's an 8-man tournament, wouldn't it be like 2 more to go and then you win? So I don't think Jeff Hardy knows how many people are in this tournament. But that's the first hour of the show so far, and I gotta say, I'm not impressed. I'm not gonna say it's bad or anything, but seriously, EC3 squash match, Christopher Daniels versus Joseph Park, and Ken Anderson versus Nuxie in a very just average match. So far, the best thing on this show has been the build-up for the Anderson versus Bully Ray match. I did like that. That was good, but everything else has just been very bland. So Dixie Carter comes out, and she's talking about AJ Styles, and she brings out 4 guys in the tournament: James Storm, Magnus, Samoa Joe, and Bobby Roode. She says next week it's going to be Bobby Roode versus James Storm in a bull rope match. She spun the Wheel of Dixie for the Impact 365 thing. So they build up the Wheel of Dixie and they don't even spin it on the damn show. Magnus versus Joe, I don't even remember what the stipulation was. I don't know if they even said. But all 4 guys cut promos on each other. This was good. Then backstage, Anderson attacks Garrett Bischoff. It was a weak brawl. Garrett Bischoff can't even do a backstage brawl properly. But Anderson beats him up and then handcuffs him and says, "Let's chat." Then Gail Kim comes out and says someone accepted her challenge. It's Hannah Blossom from British Boot Camp. TNA even copies WWE when it comes to not using their Tough Enough winners. I thought that was really funny. So Gail beats Hannah Blossom with Eat Defeat and says she's going to continue to issue open challenges. I'm sure next week she's going to face the other Blossom twin. I guarantee it. But yeah, that was it. The match itself, it was average. I mean, the Blossom girl is obviously pretty green. Okay, so we find out Samoa Joe versus Magnus is Falls Count Anywhere. So I don't know if they said it before and I missed it or what, but that's the stipulation. Then Joseph Park comes out, and he says that he's tired of the allegations, so he's challenging his brother Abyss to a match next week. I don't know what they're thinking with this. On one hand, I'm glad they're finally trying to wrap up this whole Joseph Park Abyss thing, but what the hell are they going to do? This cannot end well. I'm curious to see this train wreck. But then we get Austin Aries versus Kurt Angle in a submission match. I thought the match was pretty good. Bobby Roode comes out to watch. Austin Aries hits Angle with the Brainbuster in the last chancery. Angle's not tapping, so Austin Aries just lets him go. You hit him with your finisher and you got him in your submission hold. Where are you going to go? why let him out? I mean, you don't have any other moves, man. Well, I guess he's got the 450. But anyways, Angle gets Aries in the crossface. He points at Rude, puts him in Rude submission, and wins the match. So Angle advances in the tournament, but I did enjoy this match. And then, not Kurt Angle, but Ken Anderson comes out dragging Garrett Bischoff's body, and he pile drives him on the ramp and rips his jacket off. Meanwhile, Rude and Angle are just watching all of this happen because Rude is still on the stage and Angle's still in the ring, so they just watch Anderson kill Garrett Bischoff, and the show ended. So that was TNA this week. I have to admit, I did think this was a pretty bland show, which, I mean, I thought it was below average until the main event. I did enjoy the main event, and I liked the stuff with Anderson and the Aces and Eights on this show. Other than that, I can't really think of anything I really liked. The promos the guys cut when they were in the ring with Dixie Carter, that was good. But yeah, it was really just average. Gotta be honest. So anyways, that's my review of the show this week. Hope you guys liked the video. Leave your thoughts on this week's show in the comments, and thanks for watching.